Hi, Dr. Mazur. How are you?
Hey there, how are you? Is that Bridget?
Yes, it's me. Give me a minute.
Hey,
I
I
will.
was starting to worry.
No, I've got it.
Wonderful.
Just had a little trouble signing in for some reason.
Mr. Holder?
I I had some
Uh,
trouble signing in. I don't know why, but now I'm in.
Yay,
About
wonderful.
that.
And
How are you?
Good evening, everyone.
good
Hi,
evening.
Laurie. I'm going to ask you to sort of introduce yourself. I'm away and I don't have any of my paperwork on me. And I'm not sure how many folks registered. We've sent it to the students. And what we do is we record and have it available for them again also.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, I'll start whenever you are ready. And I also have a little PowerPoint.
Bridget, do you have a number? How many registered by any chance? I
Yes, there
don't
was
know.
a total of 8 people.
Oh, okay, eight. That's not bad.
Yeah, I wish
They,
I were where you are, Dr.
yeah,
Holder.
Montego Bay.
Oh, wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful.
that's the Caribbean Sea way back over
Oh,
there.
oh, we are
Yeah,
vicariously enjoying it.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we can get started then. And if you could just introduce yourself and talk about our op-ed, and then I'll come in and talk about some of the opportunities, and we can sort of have a little discussion more
That
on
sounds
really
great.
how to get folks interested and the other people on the call. Because to get over that first hump of that fear of writing that op-ed.
Oh, I'm aware of that hump.
Okay,
Um,
thank you. You're on.
okay, great. And I have a PowerPoint, which perhaps you can.
Yeah, you should have ability to share. And Bridget, we're recording. Make sure she's speaker view so we can share it easier. Thank you.
Uh,
Dr. Mazur, you should have sharing capabilities. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
oh, I'll answer to anything, but it's actually Mazur.
Mazur.
Um,
Okay, thank you.
okay, help me out. How do I share?
You're going to go to the green block on your screen at the bottom that's with an arrow
Oh,
in
the
between
one that says
share.
share. Got it. Okay. All right.
And do you see when you click on share, do you see your PowerPoint come up?
I do.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And all you have to do is
All
click
right.
and then share. Mhm.
Wonderful. Yes, so thank you for joining us. I'm Laurie Mazur, and I'm the short form editor here at Island Press. And that means that I write and edit articles and op-eds and blog posts and other short content, which we then publish in a wide variety of outlets, everything from small town newspapers to the New York Times. And Island Press, if you haven't heard of us, we're a longtime nonprofit book publisher, and we specialize in books about environmental problems and solutions. And Island Press is somewhat unique in that about a decade ago we started publishing short form content too. And we do this because, first of all, people are getting more and more of their information through short form media, both in print and online, and we just need to be able to reach them there. Secondly, the media environment is changing rapidly, and there are a lot of new opportunities to get our content published. A lot of traditional media outlets are struggling and laying off staff, while there's been this huge proliferation of new online outlets. And increasingly, both the traditional outlets and the new media are hungry for content and willing to accept submissions from outside writers. So there are just a lot of opportunities to get your message out there. And most importantly, we realized that a lot of voices were missing from the public conversation about climate and other environmental issues. For example, medical professionals and medical students like yourselves have so much to contribute to the conversation. As trusted experts who see the health impacts of climate change firsthand. But of course, many in the medical field are very busy and may not have the bandwidth to write and pitch op-eds.
Dr. Mazur,
Yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but are you sharing your screen? Are you sharing your presentation?
I thought I was.
No, you're not sharing.
Oh no.
So did you click on share? Then once you click on share, you'll see a bunch of windows open. And in one of those windows, you should see your PowerPoint. Once you see your PowerPoint, you click on that. And then at the bottom on the right, you'll see share.
Okay, so I click on share,
Mhm.
and
And
then
you see a bunch of little windows now?
yeah,
Okay,
uh-huh,
you see your PowerPoint in one of them.
I do.
Okay, click on that window. Okay, perfect. And then
All
you
right.
and then but okay, there you are. And then now
Okay,
what
very
you want to do
embarrassing.
now, no, it's okay. Now what
Thank
you
you
want
for,
to do is on the bottom of your PowerPoint, you'll see a picture of a screen, or if okay, perfect, perfect, you are there. Now I don't know, maybe you should want to start over so that we can
I'll
record you.
start in the beginning.
Very good.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Oh no. Okay, technical difficulties.
Now make it a full screen again.
Um,
That's okay, we'll get it and we'll get you all recorded and no one will see all of the glitches here.
oh, that is very merciful. Okay, wonderful. Oh wait, no, I'm still not doing the
Yeah, there
beginning.
you are.
Here we go.
There you go. All right, all yours.
Okay. Yes. So where were we? Yes, there are just a ton of opportunities in the media environment today to get your content published. But people, as I said, are very busy, and that's where we come in because we have grant funding to work with medical professionals, activists, community members, and others to get their articles and op-eds written and published. And we basically meet people wherever they are and provide whatever support they need, including help with strategizing, ghostwriting, editing, and pitching. So if you have an idea for an op-ed, please get in touch. So there are a few things that we consider before sitting down to write an op-ed, and each of these, they're all sort of interdependent. The most important thing is to think about your message and who needs to hear it, who is your audience, and that will determine which outlet you target. It also determines the format of the piece you're writing, whether it's an article or an op-ed, letter to the editor, but today we're really focusing on op-eds. So for example, if you want to reach community members, you might pitch your piece to a local newspaper. If you want to reach policymakers, you might focus on an outlet in your state capital. Or to reach federal policymakers, you might publish in The Hill or the Washington Post. And then there are just a plethora of specialty publications that reach certain audiences. So if you want to reach environmentalists, you might publish in Grist. If you want to reach people who are, city planners and those who work on the built environment, Next City. So we have a lot of contacts in various media outlets, and we are happy to connect you to them. So here's an example of how it all works. We collaborate a lot with the Climate Health Equity Fellows, and they are doctors and other medical professionals of color who speak out about the health impacts of climate change. And earlier this year, we were working with Dr. Charles Moore in Atlanta. Dr. Moore is very concerned about extreme heat. And as you know, Florida and Texas had just passed horrible legislation, essentially barring protection for outdoor workers. And so Dr. Moore was afraid that Georgia was going to follow suit. So we decided to aim for an op-ed in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is published in the state capitol and is also the most widely read paper in Georgia. And Dr. Moore and I sat down and thought about angles to take, and he mentioned that, actually Georgia has very strong laws to protect high school athletes from heat. So we decided that was the message. Georgia should protect workers from extreme heat, just like it does high school athletes. And we worked on the piece together and pitched it to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it ran in print and online, reaching more than 7 million people. So a few tips on how you can write an op-ed that will get that kind of exposure. First, it should be timely, keyed to current events. News outlets want their op-eds to be newsy. So think about whether something has happened recently that illustrates the problem or the solution. Unfortunately, working on climate change, there is no shortage of disasters that show what we're up against, or of great solutions at every level. Your op-ed needs to be geographically relevant. Obviously, if you're pitching a local news outlet, you need to show why people in that area would care. Accessible. If you're writing for the general public, it's important to remember that most Americans read at about an 8th grade level. So don't use big words if you can help it. Say use instead of utilize. Keep your sentences and your paragraphs short, and try to avoid any jargon or acronyms or political buzzwords. It's always helpful to come up with a new angle. If the current event or topic is something that's gotten a lot of news coverage, you really need to show that you've got something to say about it that hasn't been said. Tailored to the outlet's specifications. This is a great way to save yourself some heartache by checking the outlet's website to see what they will accept. Some outlets want to see a full draft of your op-ed. Others will prefer a 1 or 2 paragraph pitch. So pay close attention to the outlet's specified word limit, because some will just reject your op-ed out of hand if it's over the limit. And finally, you don't want to come across as too self-promotional. We collaborate with so many individuals and organizations who are doing great work, but it's really important that your op-ed center practical solutions and not come off as kind of a warmed over press release that's promoting a particular organization or leader. So here's a, well, first I should stop and see if anyone has any questions so far. Dr. Holder is shaking her head. Okay, moving right along. This is a typical op-ed structure. It's not by any means the only way to structure an op-ed, but if you've got some writer's block, this is a tried and true approach. You start with your lead that sets the scene and grabs your reader's attention, and preferably this includes a timely news hook. Then you state your thesis. This is your central argument. It might be a problem that needs fixing, and or your proposed solution, which is your ask. You then back up your thesis with your supporting facts. you will need to muster some credible facts and evidence, and firsthand experience counts. And we find actually that, especially with medical professionals, speaking about what you are seeing with your patients, what you're seeing in the ER, is really valuable evidence for what you may want to say. Then there's the to be sure paragraph, and this is where you sort of anticipate counter arguments and rebut them. And then you wrap it up with a conclusion where you tell them what you just told them, and often circle back to your lead. So any questions here? Okay.
Well, that
Yeah.
seems so simple. Yet, when I put out the call for folks to help do this, and we know that health professionals have to write. We have to write personal statements. We have to write essays in medical school. We have to write. Somehow, I don't get the response. So, what do you recommend?
Yeah, I get it. Writing is scary. I still find it scary, and I've been doing this for 40 years. I find that getting over that initial hump, well, first off, it helps to have something that you are impassioned about. And I think the folks in this virtual room are clearly impassioned about the climate crisis and its effect on human health. So that's, that's the first hurdle. You know, roughly what you want to say. So pay attention to what you're seeing. Pay attention to what makes you angry or what you're concerned about. It is so much more important to have something to say than to be an expert in saying it. You do not need to be a professional writer. There's help for that. There's help with the technique of writing, but the critical thing is to care about something and to have something to say about it. So if you've got that, we can work with you. And then there are tricks. I am a fanatical outliner, just because I find that it is less scary. Do not fuss over your opening paragraph. Don't do it. Just, come up with a rough outline of what you want to say. Some people find it helpful to write a terrible first draft. Go for it. Just, get the thoughts out there and then finesse them later. I don't know if that's helpful. Everybody has their own tricks, but as I said, the important thing is having something to say.
No, I agree. Now, where do you put AI? Because I hear folks using ChatGPT. Now we have Notebook LM, Claude. And if they put in their bad first draft, what we won't call bad, the not finished first draft, or put in the outline in ChatGPT, what are you seeing? Is that something that folks have to now write to say that I've used AI, or what's the recommendation here?
Don't use AI. That's my recommendation. I think it can get you into trouble with the outlets. They want to make sure that the op-eds are written by humans. I know that some people use it as a tool. But personally, I mean, I have read my son's term papers that were AI assisted and the ones that he wrote on his own. And I am not impressed. I don't think AI does a good job. I don't think it, especially in conveying passion. That's not what AI does. And that's, a good op-ed conveys something that you feel strongly about. So I don't know, perhaps there's a generational divide here, and there are people who use AI to organize their thoughts or whatever. But personally, I feel like I can tell when a piece of writing has been generated by AI, and I think it is inferior to the product of human brains.
Now, how do you see it? Because when I'm up against the time crunch with medical students and all the and doctors, how do you see like a happy to get through some way? What does it? I know there's some that they say do well with research. So let's say you write your basic outline and you get to that thesis portion where you have to put the supporting data in. So I want to say heat is affecting so many people. Is there a role anywhere that can be used? Because I'm going to be, when I work with the students, I'm getting challenged. They're using the modern technology. They really are. And so where is there any way there that you've seen it being helpful?
Yeah, this is not a great question for me. Also, you have to be careful. Remember, AI makes stuff up. Do not, I mean, there have been, there was a lawsuit recently. There was a lawyer who relied on AI for his research on a legal brief, and the AI made things up. So I would not rely on it for research purposes. But again, perhaps I am.
No, I think these are good points that folks have to understand that it will make things up. So if you are even considering it, you're going to have to check your primary source. You're going to have to ask for the source and go all the way and check it before you use anything that it gives you. But I think there's some ways that it can make you get through the flow and get it done. And then we can then work together to bring your voice back in and bring the passion back in. But maybe it'll get it done because it's somehow I need something to work with. And I don't want to do all the writing.
I hear you. And as I said, Dr. Holder, I'm always happy to work with you. I mean, one thing we do a lot with people who are busy, clinicians, community organizers, too busy doing the work to write about it. We ask people to send us, a list of bullet points with the main things they want to say. And, a handful of facts and a point. And I will work with you. I can produce a draft for your review. So, I mean, I know not everybody in the world has access to that service, but if you do, use it.
Yeah, so that's a really good point because I see some of our participants are nurses and they have incredible experience. One of our nurse here who's on has a great experience with her dog who went into had a heat stroke.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so that would somewhere that would be for the veterinarian and the animal lovers. So there's a place for an article like that in how we need something to protect our animals. So these are ideas that you could put on paper and tell that story. And then we could help combine it and make a good op-ed.
Absolutely. And if there's anyone online who has a great story or the germ of an op-ed that they would like to discuss, we can do a little we can workshop it. We can think it through here in real time if that's something that would be helpful.
But how many collaborators do you recommend? Because sometimes I offer to collaborate with someone just to get it done. But what is your recommendation?
More than two is tricky for placing an article, unless, I mean, of course, scholarly journals have a cast of thousands often in their authors, but journalistic outlets, more than two is tricky.
Okay, so we'll try and keep it at 1 to 2.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it's really easier to just say no more than 2.
yeah.
So we can get it done.
I also have some some resources that might be helpful. Well, I don't know if anybody wanted to take me up on the op-ed idea offer, and we could workshop a potential op-ed if that's of interest.
Yeah, Bridget, I'd sent some emails over. I can look in some groups that have asked us to write. Right now, they're looking at get out the vote op-eds. And it would be great student perspective, a young person's perspective on getting out the vote and its role with climate change. They even sent samples. And that's, how do you feel about when organizations send you samples of op-ed?
I love when people send me op-eds. That's my job.
Oh, well, no, the organization.
Now, when you say sample op-eds,
Yeah,
oh, okay, that they are sending out for others.
Right. So I always, if somebody else publishes it, do we publish the same thing in Florida? They send out all over the country the same template.
Yeah, I would really recommend modifying it significantly because most outlets insist on original content.
Right.
I think the standards are lower for letters to the editor. And, I mean, certainly there are templates for letters to your elected officials, but with op-eds, it's really tricky because the outlets generally want to know that there is a human author, that you are the human author, and that it will not appear elsewhere. They want exclusive content.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're letters to the editor, and it came from, I can show the templates. I don't know if I have sharing. Do I have sharing, Bridget?
Dr. Holder, I just put one of the samples in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Did you want me to bring it up on the screen?
Yeah. Yes. Do you have another video or anything, Laurie?
Oh,
I have some resources I can share with the group, but go ahead.
All right, after this one. Okay.
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to share our screen now. Okay. Okay, this one is by Deborah Hendrickson. It was one of the samples in the email that you sent, Dr. Holder. I'm a pediatrician and I know how climate change threatens children.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking for?
What I saw, I'm going back to, I have, no, I just have these. I have the ones from the Get Out the Vote, because that's the example of one. I was going to show you one that they wrote for us, but they wrote and said you could use.
Do you want to go ahead? You should be able.
Yeah, it says only Hope can share.
Oh, okay. Let me give you access.
Mhm.
Okay, there you are.
Okay. Let's see. Nope, not quite. Share website. Let's see. Nope. I'm not good at sharing from the phone. It's not working. Okay. No. Sorry, I can't do it. No, I can't. It's the Get Out the Vote template. It's not sharing on my screen. I can read what it says in one of them. It talks about the template that they sent you. it says choose the template below. It's like, dear editor, I'd like to submit this letter for your consideration because it's timely because we're seeing accelerating climate related events that impact our health, and climate change is an issue for the upcoming election. Then they have your unique perspective, your medical expertise, and send that off. Like you could talk about Jenny, who was a preemie struggling to breathe. Caleb forced to quit Little League, and so they gave you 150 words. Then the one about doctors urge us to be voters, doctors, nurses, professionals concerned about how climate change is harming your health. Then they say, give an example of what you saw. The solution is clear. We must elect leaders who will enact policies to rapidly reduce carbon emission.
That sounds like I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That sounds like just a sort of framework for a letter to the editor. 150 words is a letter to the editor, I would say.
So that was the editor template. Then the op-ed template, they basically expand that as a physician. There's no medication I can prescribe to my patients that would stop wildfires threatening their homes or air pollution. And then it goes on, pretty similar to what you're saying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so these were sent out to a lot of folks. And
that sounds
tweak it.
Yeah. Be sure to tweak it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds good for inspiration and just, kind of a framework for thinking about how to put it together. But I'd be very careful about repeating any language. There's another thing is you don't want to burn bridges with outlets. We are very careful to cultivate all of our relationships with outlets, and doing something that might be seen as any kind of plagiarism is definitely a no-go. I don't want them to come to suspect you.
Okay, I agree. So I think this is very clear with the students when we replay this video, that the templates are good to stimulate. They keep your order, but avoid reusing the words and make it just personalized, but keep the same short paragraphs, the same flow. So it's like getting an outline in a template form.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Thank you. Anyone else? And you can see our resources. You said you had some resources.
I do. So let me see. I'm not still sharing. So I click my share button and go back to. So I'm sharing, right? But
yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, these are some really helpful resources. The op-ed project is it's a great resource. It has online guides to writing op-eds. It also has workshops and mentorship programs. The Open Notebook has similar resources with a focus on science journalism. They also have this fabulous database of pitches. That's actually more oriented towards articles, but for journalists who are pitching stories to various outlets, they have this giant database of successful pitches, so you can see what an outlet went for, and then see the final article. Sciline, can you see that here? Sciline is a nonprofit that matches writers and reporters with scientific experts. So I think people in your audience would be the experts. But if you're writing an op-ed and you're in need of some credible facts to back up your argument, that might be a good place to turn. The Solutions Journalism Network is another great resource focused on solutions to social and environmental problems. And they are great at showing how to write solution stories that are not just, fluffy PR pieces. They also do meetups and conferences and have a lot of online resources. The Society of Environmental Journalists is a network of professional journalists who cover the environment beat. And Island Press, also a great resource. In addition to our short form work, we also have free ebooks and monthly newsletters, educational resources, webinars, free book excerpts, and of course, books. So absolutely poke around our website and reach out if you'd like any additional information. And reach out to me if you want some help writing an op-ed.
Thank you very, very much. That was excellent. And I hope the folks on the call now and those who watch it later will be ready to send us that outline or send us some bullet points or send us the draft of a story, and we can build it in because we want the passion of what it is you want to say. And usually with op-ed is what action you want taken. There's some sort of call to action. But it's something you felt about that you don't see happening and you think it should happen more.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you. I owe you a book. I have a draft of the first outline of things, so I will get to it before the year is out.
But before that, we're going to collaborate on an op-ed about the legislation on utility shutoffs. So when you get back from that gorgeous place that you've allowed us to visit vicariously.
Yeah, and it's almost sunset. So thank you. Anyone with anything else to say or to ask?
Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Bridget. Bye-bye.